Hey, yo, Choice here. Thank you so much for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. Here, I want to take a moment and talk a little bit about vibration. Now, you know, I have many videos on vibration. I talk about vibration, frequency all the time, but this is just a quick reminder. We know how vibration and frequency work, okay? The ones that are on high vibing usually think about appreciation, love, joy, happiness, gratitude, things up in that area, about those kind of things, all good things. See the beauty in things. Those that are, along the scale or whatever, but you got those in the mid-range, those usually actually, anger is up in mid-range because it's a hopelessness is down at the bottom. But above mid-range, you have those that may be indifferent belief. They're in belief. They're in faith. They are they are thinking in terms of hope, that kind of way. Pretty much okay with things, indifferent, and those that are in the lower vibrational range, they go into things like jealousy, hatred, resentment, sickly, you name it, those kind of things. They're down there. That's low vibe. Hopelessness, unworthiness, all of that stuff low vibrational. So what happens when you don't maintain a high vibing state? It doesn't mean that you don't fluctuate, because everything that goes up, they say, must come down. But if you're in a somewhat balanced state, when you hit rock bottom, it's not as hard as it would be, as if you balance a little more, be a little more balanced. So the reason I bring this up, this frequency, high vibe, low vibe, mid-range vibe, because when they get you into groups, and here I go on they, when you are separated into group, this group over that group, it provides conflict. And conflict can be good, because conflict is what moves people. Conflict is what gets someone out of a comfort zone. It triggers things. Conflict is necessary a bit, in the chaos, so that it's like a storm. The storm is coming, it must come, it's coming, it's going to knock down some old trees and make a way for new trees or whatever. I'm just using this as an example. So conflict is good. It's how we deal with conflict. It's what we do with conflict that makes all the difference in the world. It's how we perceive it, With that said, with the conflict, by dividing and have conflict of interest as far as groups are concerned, people can invoke emotions, or you allow yourself to be emotionally drawn into sagas and scenarios and topics. You make it something that really matters to you. So as you're making it matter to you, based on what you're hearing, what you're believing, whether or not it comes out of you or if it's something that you observed from the outside, and you took it on as your reality. So that, and you decided to plaster a label to it, one in which you judge and you have a feeling about. So when you do this, and you look at one group and you say, well, they're wrong because they don't think like you. They don't agree with you. So their way of seeing is not right. and your way of seeing is righteous. Their religion is no good. Your religion is perfect. Your party, whether it be Democrat or Republicans or whatever, they're the best, and the Democrats aren't, and vice versa, and vice versa. That and really and truly, they're all under the same thing. They're all under the same. They're all in the same script. They just have different moves and different ways to getting to the same point, to maintaining the same objective. So it's basically just two different roads to the same point of view. But anyway, I know. But anyway, they give you all these different scenarios in which then a conviction comes and a feeling of loyalty. You become patriotic, to the cause. And anyone that doesn't agree, they're outside. They're someone to be against, someone to fight against, someone to not like. I can use a stronger word, but someone that belongs on that side of the track, and you live on this side of the track. Right down to your complexion. Oh, you're lighter, so you're good, and you're darker. That means you get back. You're mellow, you can hang around a little bit. However they say it. But division. And what happens in this division is they keep you emotionally unstable. Someone just needs to say something, and there you go. There one goes, emotion comes up, knocks them off their game, can't focus, out of tune, right? The vibe is off. Then you done went from high to low, and just like that. I don't know how to say that. Just like that. From high to low. Just because they mentioned they're for someone else. Or they have a preference. So now you're emotionally uptight. And what does that mean? That means low vibing entities can feast on your low vibe energy. That's all it means. You just prepare the table for your enemies to feast. The enemy, yeah. So the reason for the division is so that they can keep conflict. And as long as they can keep conflict, most people involved in the conflict or observing the conflict are going to vibe very low. Because their position matters so much so that they're triggered. And then they're triggered, their response, their reaction is to fall out of grace with their higher vibe, their natural state. That's why the play on energy and keeping in what one would call negativity. Because the negative stuff, the labeled negative stuff, is the low vibing stuff in which the low vibing entities can feed. They can't feed if you're flying high. You maintain that high spirited mood, knowing whose you be and whose you are, and what you be. They'd starve to death and eventually disappear. Right out of your picture, right out of your world view, right out of your peripheral vision even. They would just disappear. So that's why it's important to keep you unbalanced. because that's the only way they would survive. So this is a quick word. Here I go again. But these are just little reminders to remind you why you see some of the things that you see. Plastered everywhere. I was speaking to someone the other day, and they said every time I turn on the TV, it's like all they're talking about is this narrative that they're attempting to push. Every commercial, every news, everything that comes on, they're showing images and symbols and doing with jingles and talking about this thing. That's because they need to keep people in a state of disarray, out of balance, out of tune, fearful, anxious. All of these things are low vibe stuff. They're not going to hear things that lifts you up and makes you just smile and laugh and enjoy, not unless you get off on the demise of others. But let's know that you're not that, you know. So anyway, a quick word on what it means: low vibration, low frequency, attracting certain type of stuff into your life, and maintaining a certain vibe will call perhaps some unwanted stuff and some wanted stuff without you realizing. And also experiences for you to evolve, to grow through, to learn through, to I won't say overcome, but to see beyond. And so that's all it is. And if you accept it as that, it would make a big difference than you thinking that everything is challenge, everything is hard, everything's a problem, everything's a situation, everything is this. All those words, terrible, this, that, all those words, low vibrational. Challenge may be a little up there, mid-vibe. A problem is something that can be solved as long as you turn your head. Any of that, you shift your head and focus on what you prefer, that thing will begin to unfold for you. But anyway, much love. Thank you so much for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. Please hit the thumbs up and share. Much love, Choice. Namaste.